Welcome to Unity Inspired Living. Our community began in 1989 as a small worldwide Unity book study group, and we've continued the momentum as an ever-evolving spiritual community. Each Sunday, you will find dynamic thought leaders delivering inspiring messages and talented musicians sharing sound healing through their melody. Here, we embrace ancient spiritual traditions, universal truths, and emerging wisdom. Let's check out this Sunday message. We're so grateful you've joined us.
Happy Sunday, Divine Sparks of Light. So grateful to be joining together, communing in this space. My name is Amy Van Ling, and I am in loving leadership here as a spiritual director of this holy community, this beautiful place, Unity Inspired Living. We are a place, a space in consciousness, we like to say, where we invite all people to explore their spiritual path, invite you to enter, to come into this space to experience high frequency. Your personal vibrational frequency will begin to resonate here with the field of infinite possibilities and unconditional love, and where operating from the great truth of our divinity becomes our path, becomes our life path, our spiritual path. So I invite a great deepening of this experience here, an activation of inspiration, an ability to surrender to the divine unfoldment, trust, and remember what we seek is seeking us. For some reason, that is coming through today. And hello, message for somebody, I guess. But yeah, insight, wisdom, love show up here, and that's you. That's in you, and yay, I'm so glad that we are here together. And remember that you are a spark of divinity. So this is our last Sunday of June, and that means we are wrapping up our theme for the month, which is bounding beyond beliefs. And in the realm of transcending belief systems, which can show up as limited at times, I'd like to offer that it is essential to recognize that getting entangled, tethered, enmeshed in sort of collective narratives sometimes can derail our vibrational frequency, that high frequency I was just talking about. Collective belief systems can sometimes live in scarcity and division and separation from God and limitations. And this can be, about anything out there. So your conscious or unconscious participation in any of that perpetuates a lower vibration, maybe division or conflict. So I encourage us to move out of that illusion of separateness and being sort of trapped in dualistic thinking. And I invite us to observe with loving awareness, and reminding ourselves that true freedom, liberation really comes from stepping back and becoming the witness of watching the unfolding drama, if you will, without attachment, by cultivating mindfulness and detaching from any divisive narratives and such. So we can transcend the program dualities. We can engage with the world from a place of unity and higher consciousness. And I want us to remember that we're not here to play small. We're not here to fall into that mediocrity. My sweet friends, we are here to shine bright, as I say every day. And I mean it. You are the light of the world. So don't forget that. Yes, it's something to remember every morning. It is my great joy to welcome back all the way from the other side of the pond, Cornelius O'Shaughnessy. He's just such a peaceful, joyful, loving, angelic presence in our world and in so many ways. And we are so blessed to welcome you back, Cornelius, with us today. The message is bounding beyond beliefs, right there with our theme. Cornelius says that belief is a useful step on the path, but it's just the first step. And ultimately, we're required to move beyond belief to achieve a state of union, because belief can inhibit this and separate us from an authentic experience of reality, of the divine. So this is a beautiful conversation for us today, and I'm so excited that Cornelius is here to share the message. There will be a workshop today, everybody. It's a deeper practice to uproot the beliefs and see reality or God as is. So plan to join us right after the morning talk here on the Zoom link. I'll drop it here in the feed on Facebook Live, and it's also on our website, unityinspiredliving.org. You'll see a picture of Beverly and Cornelius, and then the link right into the Zoom workshop. Everybody gathers in that Zoom room, so come one, come all. It's a great time to have this conversation about a deeper practice to uproot beliefs. So thank you, Cornelius. We're so grateful that you're able to join us together, and so grateful for your sacred yes this morning. Thank you. Thank you. We also have the magnificent light we call Beverly B. She is gifting us with her greatness, sharing her tender essence, her soulful gift of musical creativity and divine downloads. It's so special when Beverly's here because she just plays what God is sending through her as God is sending it through her, and that is such a gift. And we're so grateful for you. So grateful when you share your time, energy, and love with us, precious one. Thank you for zooming in from Hawaii. We're grateful. And we have our gentle spirited, compassionate, and my right hand lady that I couldn't do much around here without. I call her the angel admin, Nancy. And she's here with us this morning sharing our inspirational reading, some community announcements, our prayer of plenitude. Thank you so much for your essence and your willingness to be here to uplift us, Nancy. We're grateful for you. So we welcome you in. We are delighted that you're tuning in and tuning within to our sacred sanctuary here this morning. And we get to create that sacred sanctuary wherever we are. And right now we're here now. So thank you for communing, for joining with us. Thank you, everybody. I see you all logging in. Hi, Karen and Pat from Oregon. Pat's in Oregon still. Wow. Who else? Let me scroll back. Sonia's here. Yay. Welcome in, beloveds. Jennifer. Hi. Welcome, bright beings. We love you. We bless you. We're so grateful to be together. So we are going to get started with activating and enlivening our mission statement. So I invite you to just create this space of resonance, a reverent moment, a reverent space for you. However you do that, you might light a candle, you might place your hand on your heart, you might ring a bell, whatever resonates for you. Our mission here is fostering love and wisdom, inspiring transformation, offering compassionate outreach, and embracing unity. And we're so grateful that you're here with us on this mission. I am going to hand the screen over to Beverly B, and she's going to open us up with a community song this morning and get us rolling in. Thank you, Beverly B.
You're welcome. So I tuned my guitar. I was ready to play that, but what I'm getting is I think it's important for us to ground. I'm listening to you um, talking, and then the messenger, and I realized that we're gonna do a little bit of grounding with the root chakra. And so, if you, wherever you are in the world, um, if you can take your shoes off and just even connect to the floor of your house, it's okay. You know, everything is energy, and I'm hearing Amy saying a lot about activation, and I realized, okay, that's what we're going to do. So I hope you can hear the piano good. So we're just gonna do maybe whatever, couple of minutes. So just relax. You're just grounding. You know, the root chakra right now, the opening. So here we go.
Wow. I was feeling that. Thank you so much, Beverly V, for that activation. Okay, I'm going to hand the screen over to Nancy now, and she has our inspirational reading for the morning and community announcements. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you. Let's begin with some announcements. Please stay for Cornelius's workshop after the service today. Join us as we engage in a discussion of deeper practices to uproot beliefs. And we are sending out a huge heartfelt thank you to all who are continuing to support the Van Ling Family Fund each month. At our June board meeting, we agreed to continue our loving financial support for the Van Ling family through the month of December 2024. We encourage you to also join us in continuing your monthly gifts of support to them on their journey. Please make your donations on your checks, Zelle, or PayPal to the Mitchell Van Ling Memorial Fund. Events coming up soon. Migrating the Mystical is our theme for July, and you won't want to miss the in-person service Sunday, July 7th, beginning at 10 o'clock, when our spiritual director, Amy Van Ling, will be with us to begin the conversation about a natural mystic. Can you hear? Are you a natural mystic? Join us in person for more. And following our service, stay with your spiritual community family for our annual Member Appreciation Luncheon, which will begin at 1 o'clock at Julie and Dave Krowski's home in Discovery Bay. This party is a celebration for all of you, so please come. Sandwiches, salads, and water will be provided. Please let Jan or myself know you are coming. We will need the attendance count by Thursday, July 4th. Also remember to like and share our Facebook page and our YouTube pages every time you visit them. And please subscribe to our YouTube page, unityinspiredliving.org. It really makes a difference. And now for our reading. Today's message comes from the Annals of Science of Mind magazine, one of the first of a series of daily lessons written by Ernest Holmes in the 1930s. This reading is about releasing fears and bounding beyond beliefs. Knowledge is lifting me out of the fog of superstition. We are bound by superstition just so long as we believe that to be true, which is not the truth. Fear is a parasite which grows and nourishes upon a living substance. It has no life or vitality of its own, since of itself it is no thing. Just so long as a man lives in fear of anything, he is providing nourishment for that fear. The moment he removes his thought from a certain fear, that particular obsession shrivels and dries up, since that upon which it fed has been withdrawn. A large part of the world lives in perpetual fear of something or some things, and to these things is slave. No man is intelligent. No man who is intelligent would take orders from someone he knew to be ignorant. Why should he any more obey the orders of a dictate rising from a negative belief? In our progress and evolution, we have outgrown and discarded various stages of fears and found that in most cases, those fears were peculiar to an age or environment. With that thought in mind, we can see that any fear exists to us as individuals only so long as we believe in or nurture it. The affirmation, I am without fear. Knowledge shows me that I am free. An incarnation of divinity has nothing to fear, since he knows that all life is incarnated of and rooted in that divinity. I am that incarnation of divinity and one with all the good that there is. Blessings and have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy, for all of it. And I will be there next weekend, so I hope to see everybody either at movie night or Sunday service or the luncheon. So it'll be great to get all my oxytocin from all the hugs. Okay, so I'm going to hand the screen back over to Beverly V for our next song this morning. Thanks, Beverly. We love you.
Well, I definitely tuned my guitar for a reason. That message that you just gave is really resonating with me. There's as a teenager, just really quick, because this could be a whole message, but as a teenager, I was inflicted with an illness that I've lived with my whole life. But as I grew older, I realized that illness was actually the root of it, was fear of something that hit me when I was a teenager, right? And so this song right here, when I wrote this song, when I wake up in the morning, I'm grateful not to have pain. So I hope that those of you that are going through stuff, you know, like you wake up in the morning and it's like, ooh, ouch, right? When I woke up this morning, my body wasn't aching. I felt like shaking. When I woke up this morning, my body wasn't aching. I felt like shaking. How are you feeling this morning? Do you feel alright? Gratitude, it's nothing but an attitude. So when you wake up, it's like, you know what? Okay, yeah, I know this is aching, but you know what? Ooh, what's it all about? I want you to write something in the chat that you're grateful for, my friend. Come on, what's it all about? That's why I say I felt like shaking, because I feel like dancing. What's it all about? One more time, okay? Tell yourself, when I woke up this morning, tell yourself, my body wasn't aching. I felt like shaking. You feel it? Come on. Let's move a little bit. Come on. I felt like shaking. I felt like shaking. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at you right here. Here we go. I saw you standing there. I felt like shaking. I saw you standing there. Facebook, come on. I felt like shaking. I felt like shaking. One more time. Write something in the chat that you're grateful for. Come on. I'm looking at you. Are you dancing yet? Come on, move. I felt like shaking out. I felt like shaking out. Gratitude. One more time. Gratitude. It's nothing but an attitude. You know, gratitude and attitude is almost the same word. Have you thought about that? I felt like shaking out. I felt like shaking out. Uh-oh. 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 One more time. I hope you're writing something in the chat. One more time. When I woke up this morning, I'm looking at you. My body wasn't aching. Whoop. I felt like shaking out. I felt like shaking out. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I am grateful. I am powerful. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's my happy song.
That is a happy song. I love it. Thank you so much. And it was so fun to have everybody participate in the chat too, and so much gratitude coming through in the chat. Thank you everybody for participating, just pouring your love. I feel it. Thank you, Beverly V. That was fun. Okay, where are we? We're going to turn the screen back over to Nancy, and she has our prosperity blessing for us this morning. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you. Join me now as we take a moment to slow down and become centered and breathe. As you follow your breath, let go. Quiet your thoughts by simply acknowledging them and letting them drift by. You can say silently, "Thank you, God," or simply think the word peace and allow your mind to rest as the still small voice within comes into your awareness. Thoughts of prosperous living, gratitude, and abundance in all forms flow through you now. Feelings of peace and plenty and a rich and abundant life wash over you. Life itself breathes you, loves you, prospers you. Your thoughts and feelings go deeper into the still small voice within as they guide you to your highest good. Prosperity is yours as you let go and trust God completely. The good desires of your heart, abundant good, is flowing to you, through you. Through your positive words and thoughts and actions, you are now in the flow of life. You move easily with the flow as you enjoy and stay in gratitude. You enthusiastically say yes. You're good. Take another deep breath and gently move back into your day, free from fear and concern, moving forward in the flow of life, unhurried and unworried, one with the flow. You open the way for infinite blessings of spirit, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Uh, really beautiful reminders, they're affirmations of how to live an abundant life. Thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you. This is such a beautiful morning. I feel grounded. I feel inspired. I feel the activation. I'm going to hand the screen back over to Beverly B for our final song this morning.
All right. Ooh, I felt that one.
I I also felt that one. Thank you so much, Beverly B. Thank you, Nancy and Beverly B, for bringing your precious souls to us and your generous hearts full of love. We appreciate the activation, the essence that you brought to us this morning to build up our space and uplift us and inspire us. We're grateful. Thank you for bringing joy to us and joy to the world. Blessings. Mwah. Love you both dearly. Yay. Okay, everybody. Here we are. I see you all joining us on the Facebook live stream. I'm so grateful to be here with Cornelius. I was thinking yesterday, I don't even remember how we got connected, but what I do know is that as soon as I knew Cornelius, like there's a resonance, with certain people, like I've known you a long time. Your soul is familiar to me. And so thank you, Cornelius, for being here with us once again. It's been a while, I think a couple of years. So thank you for saying yes. So grateful to have you in our presence. For those of you just getting to know Cornelius, I'm going to share his bio with you so you can get to know him just a little bit better. Cornelius has studied the mind, meditation, mysticism, religion, and philosophy for 30 years. He has deep insight into some of the more complex and misunderstood aspects of the teachings. He teaches both wisdom and devotional yoga in order to uproot ignorance and bring people to a wiser and more compassionate way of being. Cornelius works with people to help them realize their true nature. He teaches without dogma or rigid prescriptions. The knowledge and experience he has gained over the years have given him a deep insight into the human condition and a unique ability to effect change in others. He is deeply rooted in nature and believes we must find a more sacred relationship with each other and the earth. Yes, a dynamic, beautiful being. I'm going to pray us in to this moment and then hand the screen over to Cornelius for our message this morning as we bound beyond belief. So I invite you into the breath. Just breathing in infinite wisdom and pure love, we align, we become the conduit we came to be, manifesting, creating, co-creating goodness, godness, and grace in every moment. One with the mighty source of infinite intelligence, that orchestrator of everything, of the cosmos. We are blessed with clarity of vision and strength of spirit. So grateful and so thankful for Cornelius today, blessing him, covering him in blessings as we open our hearts to the sweet, savory, divine majesty of his message this morning. A wellspring of love is ours for the receiving. Oh, and we speak a sacred yes to the eternal source of magnificence. And I release this prayer, this opening, this activation into the great expanse of infinite possibilities. And I do this in love and as love and for the love of all. So grateful for you, Cornelius. Take us away beyond beliefs.
Good to be here, and yeah, thank you for that wonderful intro and the music and the prayers. Such a great way to get my own mind in the right space, let alone everyone else's. So thank you for that. So beyond belief, tricky things, beliefs, tricky things. In one way, we're encouraged to believe in the divine, to believe in the various precepts and ideas of our path. And certainly these provide a set of rails that form our path and that guide us, hopefully from the wreckage of our of ourself towards something slightly better. Yeah, I mean, we often arrive at the spiritual path driven by disordered beliefs about ourselves, about the world around us, about the spiritual. We often arrive as this wreckage. And so these beliefs that Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, all the isms and ists that we've had, come to us in the world, which are really paths that come about through wise beings coming down and asserting a particular way of being. We then formulate a set of beliefs and ideas around what these beings have said. And we then teach that. And this forms this framework. And within this scaffolding, the flowers of our spiritual path start to grow. And that's all very wonderful. Unfortunately, and there are two problems. The first is when we cling to those beliefs like a limpet, we become very rigid. And Jesus spoke a lot about this, with his uprooting all the rules and the laws, and when women can touch it, and when all of this, that, and the other. He uprooted beliefs. In a moment, we'll talk about how Buddha did that. But when we become too rigidly obsessed with the framework, it actually works against us. And often those beliefs and those ideas that should help us, scaffold this wonderful lotus that arises out of the mud of our wreckage, they can, in fact, start to feed our ego, become a rigid framework for it, so it can run through the world and beat everyone else over the head for not believing what's right and not doing this and not doing that and my way or the highway, which we obviously can see, in all sorts of religious paths when they get their sense of superiority and I'm the best one and you are not. So we have to be careful with these things. And certainly when we are on the spiritual path, even when we have scaffolded the lotus can't fully bloom until we take the scaffolding away. When you're fixing your house up, you don't think, oh, it's all finished now, and I'll leave the scaffolding up there and leave that there with it, because you detract from the beauty of the house, and perhaps you want to grow nice things up it and make it look more beautiful than just fixed. And we all know how unsightly a building with all its scaffolding still up can look. So we want to remove that. We want to deconstruct that, and that means us finding a beliefs. That means us deconstructing our beliefs, because really when we move up to these higher centers of wisdom, we're not just looking for a scaffolding that provides an idea of how we should behave. We're looking for a direct experience of the divine, a direct experience of reality, and that involves us getting everything out the way so we can have that direct experience. And you'll see in many paths there are different ways to them doing this. Some talk about going into the silence of prayers, and we have many silence of prayer, and we have many examples of saints going off into the desert and just being them, the prayer and the silence, and their path becomes very simple, and it becomes about them and their kindness, and they withdraw into this place of being that comes through this silent prayer. And within Buddhism specifically, the whole, the assertion of some of the more higher precepts of Buddhism are that we deconstruct our beliefs. We take away the views that we have of reality in order that we can see reality as it is. Because our beliefs and ideas, they form a filter through which we see things, which again can help us move from these more difficult and challenging ways of being, the wreckage that we often find our ego is in when we arrive at the spiritual path. But ultimately, we have to wash our eyes completely clean and allow reality to be as it is. And I think that, for me, is when we move to this true point of the divine path. And for me, it's this point of deconstruction where we let go of all the beliefs, where we let go of everything and just allow everything to just be as it is, that we start to get this timeless experience of the divine that isn't bound by a culture, that isn't bound by a religious framework, that isn't bound by the belief system. We enter into this dynamic way of seeing, which comes about through letting go of our ideas, letting go of these, these tools really of belief that have helped us to this point. And it's whether someone can do that or not that really defines whether they're able to move on to these more higher levels of self-actualization, self-realization. If you're not prepared to do that, or you're not able to, and some people aren't, then certainly you can lightly carry on with your beliefs. But if you can, then you should move forward. You should empty the mind as much as you can. You can do that through meditation. You can do that through prayer. You can do that by entering into presence, entering into the now. But all of these methods involve us looking at what's arising in our mind, looking at the concepts, the ideas, the beliefs, and being able to see that they're only a perspective. These are only a perspective. Them in themselves are not true. They may be true in a relative sense. If I believe the sun's coming up and the sun comes up, we could say that belief about the sun is correct. But if I want to experience the sun rise, I should not sit there holding on to this belief about the sun and assessing whether it's right or it's wrong and getting convicted by it. I should sit there and just watch the sun rise. So we're entering into this space where we find this communion with reality. We find this oneness. We find this openness. And it's this we need to look for if we're really looking to find the fruit of prayer and the fruit of meditation. It can take a long while because we're kind of quite slippery with our beliefs, aren't we? We like to hold on to them. Yeah, you will find, you can think that you don't have rigid beliefs. Go and surround yourself with someone that doesn't believe the things that you believe, and then you see how rigid you are within about 10 minutes, you know. And they're a dangerous thing, really. We can get very entrenched in our beliefs, and we can get very entrenched in opposing other sets of beliefs. And we can get ourselves into a complete mess. I mean, often I ask myself sometimes, is where I am now and what I believe now and how I'm living now, how much of it is built up in just being in opposition to something else? And is that an authentic way of being? Is that an authentic way of being in the world? Is that rising up into my highest state? Or am I just engaging in opposition? Am I just engaging in opposition to others' beliefs? I think that's even more of a slippery slope than getting rigidly bound to your own beliefs, isn't it? It's just screaming and shouting at others. And we often think it does some good as well, don't we? But I found on my own spiritual journeys, I've learned the most and had the most shift in myself and in others by engaging faithfully and with integrity in other people's frameworks and finding the beauty within those and operating within the, you know, sometimes very different belief systems. I've have a deep experience of Hinduism and Buddhism and different aspects of Buddhism and Christianity and shamanic ways of being that often people find very contradictory. But when you start to look at belief systems and frameworks as frameworks, and you start peeling those away, then you start to see the essence of the truth. You know, you start to see also the reflections of other paths within paths. You can see the Buddhism in Christianity. You can see the shamanic path in Christianity. You know, it amazes me how many Christians don't see the shamanic aspect of the water and the birds and the Eucharist, transfiguring the bread and wine into a body of blood and all these types of stuff. I mean, it's like full on shamanic pathway, but but because it's not called that, we don't see it as that. The same with Buddhism. Often, you know, if someone doesn't have a Buddhist place near them that they can go to, you know, where do I learn to be a better Buddhist? I say, you find a really good Christian church, and not one that's rigid and locked in their beliefs. But you'll find quite quickly if they're not, then they're quite open to having a Buddhist there. But if they are, then they're not. So it's quite easy to find one of these. So entering into this space where we're not rigid is important. It's important for our own pathway. It's important for the world around us. It's important for our politics. It's important for the state that we find ourselves in right now. But most importantly, for us, it's about coming into this authentic experience of reality so that we can then take refuge, not in beliefs, but in these substances of character, in these positions of value, in love, in kindness, in forgiveness. All these things transcend belief. You know, they're not, it's not, I believe in forgiveness. It's something you give. It's something you exude. It's something that comes from you. And the good news is that when we shatter our own perceptions and shatter our own ideas and our own beliefs, then these things start to rise up authentically within us. Because we're undermining the very foundation of the ego within us. The spiritual path is really quite a trick. It leads us into this false sense of security of believing our frameworks, and then, as any good path should, it should rip the dummy away from you and leave you into an authentic experience of yourself. And yeah, I think a lot of us, and there's probably a lot of you here, you're quite a conceptually open church, or space. So it's I guess there's a lot of you like me that have been, exploring all sorts of frameworks and ideas, and seeing that these beliefs aren't in themselves the fruit here, that there's something beyond that. A, enables us to move beyond whatever we're exploring. B, it enables us to engage more openly with all these different beliefs and structures, but it enables us to understand the dynamics of our path as multidisciplinary interfaith explorers. Because what you don't want to do is get out, which one do I believe? Because I kind of had some nice experiences in Buddhism, and then I had some weird stuff in Christianity, and then I've had this shamanic stuff go on, and then I had this Hindu thing go on, and I'm really confused. But if you can understand the dynamics of the path, how these different belief systems are scaffolding this expressive, heart-centered way of being through belief, and then how they shatter that belief to allow this burst, this creative display of divinity that arises in us when we go on the path, when we reach the later stages of the path. Then we can start to have a more kind of meaningful interaction with all these different paths, rather than getting very confused. Because you'll if you have a chat with any of them, they'll always say they're the right one, and everyone else might be a little bit right, but not as right as them. So so you can often get stuck in beliefs by having conversations with the people that are offering them to you. But that's why Buddhism, I think, is been valuable to me, really, on my path, because it's so blatant in its assertion that actually the truth is beyond the concepts that we have about it. My experience of what the tree is beyond the ideas and beliefs that I have about the tree. And the ideas and beliefs that I have about the tree may be perfectly good in one sense, but they are limiting my experience of this wonderful existing reality, this wonderful tree. Not just a tree, but also the relationships we find ourselves in, the people we confront, the faiths that we interact with. We're in this world where, all these conceptual ideas and religions are hurtling towards each other at light speed and colliding. And you, as people who have, the understanding that the truth can be found in many different places, you have an incredible responsibility to hold space while that happens. You are the people that will be able to do that more than others. So being able to do that, and being able to find the truth in amongst all these different ideas is very, very important. And like I said, finding your freedom from your own beliefs and politics, and your rigidity within your own frameworks, so that you can start to really express these higher ways of being, this forgiveness, this loving kindness, these fruits of the spiritual path, which they cut through everything, aren't they? I mean, we're having our election here, but you're talking your framework, like, I'm not a Republican or I'm not a Democrat, I'm a human being a good human being. And if I show up as a good human being a good human being, how does that affect my interaction with people I disagree with? How does that affect my interaction with the politics that I'm engaged with? And am I showing up with heart, and am I showing up with forgiveness? And if I look back, if they look back in 500 years at how I'm behaving and how I'm interacting, will it still be culturally relevant? Because if you're coming from a place of truth, it should be. If you're coming from a place of truth, when we look back at Christ, when we look back at Buddha, we can go, yeah, bang, that is it. Let's do that stuff. Let's be that being. It's relevant and it resonates still. But if you're absorbed in belief and ideas, and you're entrenched and you're rigid, then you look back, and people will think, they were so much locked into their own rigid perceptions that they weren't human. I often say, what would Jesus do, or what would Buddha do? And I think that's a really good question to ask ourselves when we're behaving the way we behave. But we all have bad days, so don't go too hard on yourself. That's the thing about belief and politics. It's a slippery little sucker, you know. It's ego essentially, and it will creep in there because the ego says, I know best and I know everything. So in our religion, it says, well, my religion must be the best, and my way of thinking about religion must be the best, and I must know everything. And my politics says the same. And so there's no room for error. There's no room for humility in that. And they're your kind of warning signals. If you can't listen to many people from many different frameworks and think, hey, that's really interesting. Have you got a point actually with that stuff? And I might not agree with this, but I can see where you're coming from. If you start to notice you're losing that kind of flexibility and you're starting to become entrenched into rigidity, then question yourself. How honest can you be with yourself? That's really what's going to govern whether you find freedom from your ego or not, whether you enter into the space of the freedom. Can you be radically honest? UG Krishnamurti, that was the one thing he said was the only important ingredient for, he was quite controversial spiritual teacher. He was very abrupt and quite forceful. And it was often wouldn't give answers to anything. But he said that the true spiritual path would only ever be found by people that can be radically honest with themselves. So we have to shame our own ego by looking at the shadows that we're grasping hold of. We have to shame our own positions and have this honest take. At the end of the day, we can kind of run through how our day's been and be like, well, how was I and how did I show up? And how did that affect the people around me? What reactions did I get? And could that be shifted and could that be changed? And if it could be shifted and changed, then how could it be shifted and changed? So yeah, it's about authenticity. It's about integrity. It's about having courage. It's about being able to shine a light on our mind and how our mind is functioning. You need to have also this kind of non-judgmental, as Amy was saying, this witnessing of what's going on in the mind is so important. This almost, this compassionate, non-judgmental, open view that you're having of your own mind. Because if you're too scared to see your own darkness, then you won't see it. You'll hide it away from yourself. If you're not compassionate enough with yourself and you think, oh, actually, if I see something in me that I might hate, I'll hate myself and oh, I'm an awful person and this. If there's a danger that your mind will, find that in the search, it will avoid it. You have to start seeing that your beliefs, your ideas are informed by your culture and your ancestors and your genes and your conditioning. Your beliefs, your ideas, your thoughts are conditioned patterns of behavior. If you dropped someone into the middle of the Amazon and they had a child and then they were airlifted out and this child was miraculously brought up by some clever wolves or something, there would be no culture, there would be no religion, there would be no nothing. There would be conditioned by the nature and the wild, and they wouldn't have any of the ideas that we have. So we have to see that these patterns of conditioning can and should be looked at with absolute scrutiny and this razor-like sharp awareness, but also this clear idea that they are that they are conditioned patterns of framework. So don't beat yourself up about this. I've got one of my statues that I have here, Manjushri, who's got the flaming sword. And this symbolizes cutting through ignorance. I often get people to imagine this in meditation when they're standing at their mind and their mind is empty and there are all these ideas and thoughts. And for us to have this spirit of Manjushri where we just are prepared to cut through everything in quite a merciless way and find this much deeper aspect of our nature, this true reality within us. So we'll be doing some meditation in the workshops, and we'll be talking about methods of deconstruction, shunyata, amongst other things. Shunyata means emptiness, seeing everything as empty. This is really the best prescription for liberating the mind from all sorts of ideas and perspective. It's the highest assertion of reality within Buddhism, which is that things are empty of any self nature. This is a very powerful way of doing it. but really, again, like I said, it's this having this willingness to be able to liberate our mind from beliefs, to be able to see that they're conditioned processes, and to be able to sit and have a meaningful moment of meditation, prayer, nowness, presence throughout our day, and start guiding our mind more into this space, this authentic space of openness, where there are no beliefs, where there are no ideas, where there is just reality happening, where there is just beingness, where there is just presence, where there is just the divine. And the more we can guide our mind to this sacred space, the more time we can spend in that space, the more naturally our thoughts, our ideas, our beliefs will start to fall away, and we can find the fruit of the real fruit of the path. So I hope that's been helpful, and yeah, do join us in the workshop if you can.
Yes, helpful is an understatement. I'm reminded that even not only your talks, but even when we have talked offline, what pours out of Cornelius are like constant quotable moments, right? It's like the whole talk the transcript needs to be, you know, printed and highlighted like every other sentence. There's so much here. We do have a few minutes before we want to get off for the workshop. Does anybody have something to ask Cornelius, share? Thank you, Carol. Carol has been trying to keep up with all the amazing, I don't even know, like the nuggets of of potency. Yeah, Sonia says, wow, right? You ended with saying, you know, having this willingness to liberate our minds. And I really think that that is where it begins, because, you know, the Course in Miracles talks about it just takes a little willingness. And so if we just have that prayer for just, I'm willing to be willing, you know, if I can't see, or if I have the blinders on, and you said so many great pieces about, you know, sort of having this filter we see through of beliefs and ideas, you know, if we're willing to say, let me have the eyes to see, I do really believe that the universe, God, provides those opportunities for us to see. And you said something really important that I want to just repeat. You talked about if we're too scared to see our own darkness, we'll hide it and avoid it. And I think that is really so important, because it's so subtle, I think, at times, where people don't or can't or won't, or, you know, it's kind of a scary place to say, oh, I really do think that, or do that. And it's really the only place that that we have to witness that, you said, because these beliefs and programs that are formed in the conditions. I love the flaming sword too. There's so much here, cutting through ignorance. Oh, let's check in with our feed. Marianne says, thank you for the insights and reminders to liberate and be free and willing to make time and be present, just be and know. Carol says, if we're too scared to see our own darkness, we will hide it and avoid it. Yes, Cornelia said that. Bob says, that was great info. Sonia says, yes, that struck a chord for me too. I know there was so much to digest in this talk. Ego says, I know best. I know everything. And this was something you said that I think is important. If you can't even have a conversation with somebody else that has, you know, a differing belief system or idea about something, if you find yourself unable to even have a thoughtful exchange, because we're so entrenched in our rigidity, you know, this is something to be the witness to. You know, I think that's really beautiful. You know, you spoke about how you talk to people that have all different ideas and beliefs, and sometimes we say, yeah, you know, that doesn't resonate. Other times, like, that's interesting. I can see at least where that comes from, you know, and that can open this just enough space to have that kindness and compassion and forgiveness. this is it's such an important, it's one of my favorite topics of all, because it's really belief systems that keep us so limited. Um, wow. So Jan says, for me, the question, can I be radically honest with myself, is where I begin, and yet it is challenging beyond belief. Yeah, that's a great question, right? Can I be radically honest with
Mm.
myself? Luinda says, yes, I think it's important to keep an open mind to the positive aspects of different belief systems, different beliefs. Pat says, that's why I listen to the news, to check my reactions and responses. There's an idea. Um, wow. I took 2 pages of notes because there was just so much flowing out of you. Our beliefs and ideas form a filter that we see through. We know this. Let me just could be slippery with beliefs. Yeah, I say so. It's ours to deconstruct. I like that word, deconstruct. Oh, I love when you were talking about the scaffolding. The lotus can't fully bloom until the scaffolding is removed. It's
Take it
really a
away.
beautiful. Yeah.
We often get very, very entrenched, you see, in what we're thinking and what we're believing, to the point where we develop a blind spot with it. And you see it with everyone. You get very, very, very entrenched, and it locks up your whole spiritual process. And also, the some of the greatest kind of conceptual sin, I call it, is when we hold images of others and we crucify them with those images. We look
Yeah.
at them and say, I know you immediately because of your position on this, or your how you think about that, or what you think about this. And I'm now going to crucify you because of the image I have of you in my mind. And for me, if we can't sit and have open conversations with people around us about all sorts of different things that we wildly disagree with, to me, this is a huge red flag. If we're hopping on about like on a cat on a hot tin roof just because our reality is being questioned, this is not a healthy, regardless of whether the person is right or wrong or something in between, which is usually something in between, then
Mhm.
this is a huge red flag. And it shows that our ego's clinging to these conceptual frameworks. And the
Mhm.
world nowadays is so chaotic. There's so much suffering. It's such a mess that sometimes in that fear, and it's being driven by fear, we think, actually, I'm going to cling on to what I think. This is what I think. This is the world as I know it, and I'm going to cling on to it like a limpet. And anyone that questions me or comes anywhere near me with anything else, I'm going to bite their head off, or I'm going to limit them and shut them off out of my experience. And so we kind of shut everything down. So, I mean, they're the kind of warning signs. But even when we get up to this place where we've got this kind of, arrogant air of, yeah, I know everything about God. I mean, of course I do. And therefore, I don't agree with what you're doing here, or no, the Christian's doing this. No, no, no. And Sufi's doing that. Oh, no, no, no. I don't believe in this. I don't believe, I'm a Buddhist. I don't believe in God. And so it's all delusional. But when you start entering into that, you've entered into your own, you're entering into this stickiness that again is, regardless of how much spiritual development you have, you're going to snakes and ladders straight down to the beginning again, because you're clinging on to the very things that are separating you and
Excuse me.
causing problems, separating you from the fruit of your path, and causing problems in your environment.
Right.
So you do have to be very, 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 very conscious, and that's the key, is
Mhm.
having that
Yeah.
awareness,
Right.
having that awareness in your own mind. Am I showing up in the right way with these beliefs? Am I finding freedom from these beliefs? Are these
Right.
beliefs confining me? Am I letting reality be as it is? Am I letting God speak to me, or am I speaking to God here? Am I putting God in a box?
Right.
These are
Yeah, I
important.
mean, God is not so black and white. And it's really dangerous to sort of lump people in groups. It's just so assumptive to just be, oh, this is where you go, and then that way I cannot like you or disagree with you. And oh, you said something really great, and I don't know if I got the whole quote, but you talked about how maybe you can remember what you were saying about when we're just sort of like against something,
Yeah, we can
portraying
often
this.
we can build up such an obsession with being against something that actually the
Yes.
land that we're standing on is a mess. And just because
Yeah.
it's not that, we feel like, well, this if it's not that, then this has got to be right. But actually, in the absence of my opposition to a thing, how is the land I'm standing on? How is the politics I hold? How is the world the world and the word that I'm emitting? Who am I? Is the land I'm standing on, does that really stand for my values as a human being and how
Mhm.
I want the world to be? Because often when we
Yes.
find we're just in opposition to something, we actually, we get into this kind of lesser of two evils situation in our mind, which is,
Right.
the lesser of two evils is still evil. So
Yes.
yeah, we have to really look at, because if I'm not something and I'm so against something, then and other people are, it's like and that thing is opposed to all these other people. I don't care what these people are doing, on my side. Who cares? Like, I don't care. Like, they can be
Mhm.
the worst thing in the world, but they're just not
Mhm.
that, so that's fine. And we end up getting into these really, these unwholesome, unhealthy, unloving,
Mhm.
these awful ways of looking at the world and being with others that really damage the world we're in, and really they screw our path up, when we
Yeah, I
when
mean, some of the greatest travesties of humanity are in the name of God or religions, right? It's like, whoa.
yeah, I know,
Uh,
killing people in the name of Jesus. I mean, that's an oxymoron in itself, isn't it? Or, as if that's what he would have wanted. But
mm,
people think that Buddhism is free of its problems. I can certainly tell you that it's not. You will find, rigid,
yeah. I
Buddhists
think
that
the
will.
words you used, entrenched, rigidity, all of and anything. I mean, this is across the board with anything. And you used some words. I actually call them like values, and you name some of them that are very on my value list, like authenticity, integrity, courage. And so I feel like when we have maybe it's like our GPS, uh, our compass. These are my values that's how
Mm,
I'm the light of the world, right? That's what I choose to show up as consciously every single moment in every single situation. And I won't deviate,
mm.
and of course you said, have grace with ourselves because we all have our moments, but when we sort of set a parameter um, about how we want to be heart centered in the
Mm.
world, we can sort of always come back to that, come
Yeah.
back to,
Values,
wait,
and these are applicable in all sorts of, you talk about loving kindness within all sorts of different frameworks, and it's relevant. So it's a relevant, it's a bridge. These values are a bridge that we have, we can reach out to the world from. If we get locked into our ideas and our thoughts and our constructs, then we end up getting lost, whether we're Buddhist or Christian or whatever. But as
right?
a the Bodhisattva vows are very important to me. I'm very centered on those. And one of the vows is to arise as what others wish to have near and dear to them. And to
Mm,
me, that's been a great
wow.
challenge in my own path, and a question for me. Am I showing up as what others wish to have near to them? People want lovingness, they want kindness,
Yeah.
they want, and sometimes, and often it's much, like I said to you, you get more shift within yourself and in others around you when you show up as the best of their path. When you're with the Buddhist, show up as a really good Buddhist. When you're with the Christian, show up as a really good Christian. When you're with the Hindus, show up as a really good Hindu. You get the most out of your environment by often looking at what it is other people need around you and becoming that, and becoming a living expression of that. Um,
And we're not talking about being inauthentic or being a chameleon. We're talking about finding that through line. What's the truth
yeah,
in all of it that resonates?
yeah.
And I agree with you. I love that because otherwise it's almost like we're assessing uh what did you say?
It
Being
has to become a,
conceptually open.
it has to come from a place of integrity where
Yes.
your general willingness is to be in an environment, to show up as love, to show up as kindness, and to be as
Mm.
something that can, I mean, as well as the in the Bodhisattva vows, we talk about, may I arise as a set of conditions by which all others are freed from suffering. May the earth, fire, and wind, water, air, may all the conditions reassemble themselves, and may I arise as them to be of what others need. In ages of, dire famine, may I become food. When others are thirsty, may I become water. So it's about, you literally offer the conditions of your body and your spiritual path to become what others might need in any given moment. So yeah, it's not Leonic. It's an act of complete service in which the ego is destroyed, and there's this genuine desire for selfless service to arise.
It's a prayer of Saint Francis too. Okay, there's comments. Let's see. Dan says, am I entrenched in rigidness, or am I showing up with forgiveness and compassion? Yes. Carol says, entrenched in our own rigidity. I'm 100% resonant with your message about space for others. It's so easy to demonize and just create separation and duality instead of embracing the polarity and unity. Let me see. Sonia says, ditto, Amy. That was a little few minutes back. Rise. Let me scroll here. Marianne says, looking forward to seeing everyone in service with, yes, next weekend I'll be there. Yes. Okay. And so we're going to move out of the Facebook live stream and into our Zoom room for the workshop, which is going to be really amazing. A deep practice to uproot beliefs. So now we can really get into the nitty-gritty of excavating. I see this as an excavation. So that's where we're going to move into. I'm going to drop the link right here in our feed. It's also on our homepage, unityinspiredliving.org. Please invite everybody. This is a message for all time, at all times. If you feel renewed, refreshed, revitalized today, and grateful for our Unity community, please consider visiting our giving page. We invite you to share in an energetic exchange with us. It says that you support and appreciate the mission of this community, and we are so grateful for this exchange. We are 100% supported by your generous contributions and love. We are going to close with our prayer of divine awakening, which I'm going to put on the screen right now. Oops, where did my Zoom screen go? Share screen, and we can close with this as a declaration for our lives. It's a new day, a beautiful day, a new beginning. I embrace this day with new eyes, an open heart, and expansive mind. I choose my vibrational frequency deliberately and consciously, harmonizing with life's events. I am receptive to source energy, divine guidance, and wisdom available to me at all times. I commit to serve unconditional love fully and completely. I move forward in a state of appreciation, an extension of the one magnificent power and presence. I am sovereign, whole, and free, claiming dominion over my life as I go in peace and awaken to my divinity. And so it is, beautiful beings of love and light. Blessings. Happy 4th of July this week. And if you are close to fireworks, wear earplugs to save your hearing. Shine on, bright ones. We will see you in the workshop in just 15 minutes. Mwah, mwah. Blessings. I'll see you next weekend in person. Thank you, Cornelius. We are so grateful for you. Oh, by the way, if somebody wants to reach out to you, find you, know more about you, what is the best way they can do that?
So they can do it either through bodhimaya.com, which is bodhimaya.com. You can send me a message on the contact there, or cornelius@bodhimaya.com, or find me on Instagram, bodhimaya, or Cornelius_non-duality. So I often will help people through this whole
yes, you do that very well, I might add, and I will drop Cornelius's link into the feed as well. Thank you, beloved. So grateful for you. See you in a few minutes in the Zoom room. Blessings, everybody.